You didn't lose a woman who loved you. You lost a woman who couldn't see your value until you were already gone. That's the cold, hard truth that keeps her staring at the ceiling at 3:00 a.m. while you're finally starting to breathe again. It's not the breakup that's killing her. It's the slow-motion realization that she had the main event and traded it in for a cheap sideshow. See, female regret isn't like ours. For a man, the pain hits like a freight train the second the door slams. For a woman, it's a slow burn. It's a ghost that follows her into the next relationship, into the next bar, and into every shallow DM she receives. She walks away thinking the grass is greener, thinking there's a better version of you out there, someone more exciting, someone more dangerous. But she confuses chaos with passion. She mistakes your stability for boredom and your loyalty for weakness. She thinks she's leveling up, but she's actually just walking into a desert of validation that's about to run bone dry. Weeks go by, maybe months, and she's sitting across from some new guy. He's got the looks, he's got the talk, but he doesn't look at her the way you did. He doesn't know how she takes her coffee, he doesn't care about the stories she tells, and he definitely isn't going to be there when her world starts to crumble. That's when the weight lands. That's when the silence becomes deafening. She starts to realize that you weren't just another guy in her rotation, you were the standard. And once a man sets a standard, every other man she meets from that point forward feels like a massive downgrade. She's out here chasing vibes, while you were out here building a foundation. Now she's stuck with the vibes, and the foundation is gone. Before we get any deeper into the mechanics of this regret, do me a favor. If you're a man who's tired of being undervalued and you're ready to reclaim your frame, hit that subscribe button right now. This channel is for the builders, the providers, and the men who are done playing games. Subscribe so you don't miss the blueprints on how to become the man she can never replace. Let's talk about the validation trap. Most women don't miss the man immediately because they're being flooded with attention from the moment they're back on the market. Their phones are blowing up, their egos are being stroked, and they feel like they have infinite options. But here's the thing. Attention is cheap. Any girl can get attention. Devotion? That's rare. Loyalty? That's a miracle in today's world. When the novelty of the new attention wears off, when she realizes these new guys are just looking for a good time and not a long time, the image of you starts to haunt her. She realizes she traded a king for a bunch of pawns. She starts scrolling through her old photos at 2:00 a.m., wondering what you're doing, who you're with, and if you even remember her name. She's looking for a way back in, testing the waters with a random text or a like on an old post. She's hoping you're still the same guy, the guy who's waiting with open arms, ready to be her backup plan. But that's the part she didn't count on. She expected you to break. She expected you to beg, to plead, and to chase her down the street like some desperate beta. But real men don't chase people who don't want to be there. Real men accept the exit. When you walked away with your dignity intact, you did something she never expected. You showed her that you don't need her. You showed her that your value is independent of her opinion. That silence you gave her? That's the most powerful weapon in your arsenal. It's deafening. It forces her to sit with her own choices. It forces her to realize that she didn't just walk away from a relationship. She walked away from a man who was willing to go to war for her. Now, you're different. You've evolved. You're hitting the gym harder. You're focused on your mission, and you're building a life that doesn't have a reserved seat for her anymore. She sees your growth from a distance, and it stings. It's not that you're trying to make her jealous. It's that you genuinely moved on. You reclaimed your energy and redirected it into your purpose. You've become the man you were always meant to be, but you had to lose her to find him. And that's the ultimate irony of female psychology. She only wants the man you became after she left. But that man is the one who no longer wants her. You've leveled up past the version of yourself that would have accepted her back. You've realized that a woman who has to lose you to learn a lesson isn't a woman you want to build a future with. She's now dealing with men who see her as temporary entertainment. She's getting desire, but she's not getting love. She's getting you up, texts instead of good morning calls. She's realizing that the excitement she was chasing is actually just instability. She misses the safety you provided. She misses the certainty of knowing someone had her back. She's realizing that in a world full of users, you were a builder. You set a bar so high that the guys she's meeting now can't even see it, let alone reach it. That regret is her ghost. It's the shadow that sits at the table on every date she goes on. She'll try to justify it. She'll tell her friends you were boring or too much. But deep down, in the quiet moments, she knows. She lost the exception, and exceptions don't come around twice. You are the one who got away, and you did it with your head held high. That's masculine power. That's the prize. And once you realize you're the prize, you never look back at someone who treated you like an option. She's out there right now playing the field, thinking she's finally free from the weight of a real man's expectations. But here's the reality she's hitting head on. She didn't just leave a relationship, she walked away from her peak. See, she's realized that the freedom she craved is actually just a cold, empty market full of low-tier dudes who treat her like a seasonal pass rather than a lifetime investment. She's sitting in some loud club or scrolling through a sea of "you up" texts, and suddenly, the ghost of your presence is the only thing she can feel. She's looking for you in every guy she meets, but all she's finding are cheap imitations. They've got the aesthetic, they've got the vibes, but they don't have the soul. They don't have that protective edge that made her feel safe enough to actually be a woman. Now, she's forced to be strong and independent because no one else is stepping up to lead her, and that exhaustion is where the regret starts to rot her from the inside out. It's the quiet moments that are killing her. It's when she realizes that the new guy she's talking to doesn't even know her favorite meal, let alone her deepest fears. He's not checking if she got home safe. He's checking his own reflection in the mirror. She's experiencing the difference between being wanted for a night and being loved for a lifetime. She traded a man who was her rock for a bunch of dudes who are basically just shifting sand. She thought your stability was boring, but now that she's living in a world of chaos and ghosting, she'd give anything for one of those boring Tuesday nights with you. She's starting to understand that a man who stays, a man who builds, and a man who loves deeply is a rare breed in a culture obsessed with the next best thing. She had the prize, and she threw it away for a handful of pocket change. Before we go any further, look at yourself in the mirror. If you're done being the guy who gets taken for granted and you're ready to become the man who sets the rules, hit that subscribe button right now. We don't do simping here. We do growth, we do power, and we do reality. Subscribe if you're ready to level up so hard that she becomes a distant memory while you become a legend. Now let's talk about that breadcrumb she's going to drop in your DMs. It'll be something mid, a random meme, a thinking of you, or a "we need to talk." Don't get it twisted. That's not her realizing she loves you. That's her ego starving. She sees you thriving. She sees you hitting the weights. She sees you focused on the bag and your mission, and it makes her sick to her stomach. She needs to know she can still pull you back. She wants to see if you're still that same guy who'll drop everything just because she whistled. But you're not that guy anymore. You've evolved. You've realized that your silence is the loudest message you can ever send. When you don't respond, or when you give her that polite, distant energy, you're essentially telling her that she no longer has a seat at your table. You're showing her that you've reclaimed your frame, and that realization is the ultimate psychological kill shot. She's now realizing that you weren't the problem. Her inability to value a good thing was. She's watching you become the best version of yourself from the sidelines, and she knows she's not invited to the victory party. She's stuck with the mystery and the excitement of guys who don't even remember her middle name while you're out here becoming a king. She misses the safety. She misses the certainty. She misses the way you made her feel like she was the only girl in the room. But more than anything, she misses the man she wasn't awake enough to appreciate. Let her sit in that regret. Let her carry that weight. Your job isn't to fix her mistakes. Your job is to keep building your empire until the right woman comes along, the one who doesn't need to lose you to realize you're everything she ever needed. Keep your head up, stay on your grind, and never let a woman who walked away convince you that you weren't enough. You were too much for her to handle, and that's a her problem, not a you problem. The final scene of this story isn't a grand reunion or a cinematic apology. It's a quiet, cold Tuesday night where she's staring at a phone that isn't ringing. She's finally realized that the excitement she left you for was just a flickering candle, while the love you gave her was the sun. She thought the grass was greener on the other side, but she's finding out it was just spray-painted gravel. She's out there trying to find a replacement for a man who is literally irreplaceable. She's looking for your heart in men who don't even have a pulse. And that, my friend, is the ultimate ghost that will haunt her for years. Every time she gets ghosted, every time a guy lies to her, every time she feels lonely in a room full of people, she's going to see your face. She's going to remember the man who was her peace, and she's going to have to live with the fact that she's the one who burned that bridge. You're not the one who lost. You're the one who was liberated. You gave her the best version of yourself, and she wasn't awake enough to hold on to it. That's her cross to carry, not yours. While she's stuck in the past, replaying your old voice notes and wondering what if, you're out here building a legacy. You've taken that pain and turned it into power. You've taken that rejection and turned it into a redirection. You're a different beast now. You've developed a level of self-respect that makes it impossible for you to ever settle for someone who doesn't see your worth from day one. You don't need her regret to feel validated. Your growth is your validation. Your success is your closure. Your peace is your revenge. Before you walk away from this video and back into your grind, make sure you're part of the inner circle. Hit that subscribe button right now. We're building a tribe of men who are done being options and are ready to become the priority. Don't miss out on the next deep dive into the psychology of power and respect. Stay locked in. She's going to try to come back. They always do when they realize the world is colder than they thought. But when she reaches out, she's going to find a man who no longer recognizes her. Not because you're angry, but because you've ascended. You've moved into a different frequency where her drama and her regret can't reach you. You're too busy living, too busy winning, and too busy being the man you were always meant to be. Let her keep the memories. You keep the future. Let her keep the regret. You keep the crown. You were the one who loved her the most, and now you're the one she'll never have again. That's the end of her story, but it's just the beginning of yours. Keep your head up, stay on your mission, and never forget, you are the prize. Always have been, always will be. See you in the next one.